Hello, my name is Casey Craig. I am Global Head of Communications for CoinDesk, the leading media outlet for cryptocurrency and blockchain news and information. And I'm thrilled to be part of this video commemorating International Women's Day. So, what is in store for Bitcoin 2022? I think a lot of people's predictions about how the market and Bitcoin specifically would be in this year have changed based on the impending World War III and Russia invading Ukraine. I think a lot of people thought that Bitcoin would be put to the test against inflation and used as a store of value as an inflation hedge. And we've definitely seen that, last week alone, we saw Bitcoin. There's a huge spike because people were purchasing Bitcoin as an inflation hedge against the ruble. And I think that we will see more of that. And I also think this year, I think will be the biggest year for regulation. I think last year there was a lot of regulation concepts and theory, and it was more of like a discussion. And I think this year, a lot of that regulation will be put into place by the Fed, as well as international regulation will be put in place. So, what mainstream adoption will look like? So, I think that's a really interesting question because people forget the massive technological gap that exists in the world. A lot of people, we, especially in the US, have become so used to being connected all the time. Wi-Fi, 5G. It's pretty rare that you would be somewhere without some kind of internet connectivity. However, the rest of the world does not have the kind of access and infrastructure that we do. And in order for Bitcoin to achieve mainstream adoption, the whole world will have to become more connected. There needs to be more technological infrastructure put into place, especially in developing countries, so that people are able to use Bitcoin as a form of transaction or as a store of value. And in order to do that, you do need access to the internet, Wi-Fi, a smartphone typically. I do think Ethereum is going to lap Bitcoin pretty soon in terms of market value and transactional volume. It is just so much faster and it makes so much more sense for mainstream adoption. But Bitcoin will always be considered like the pioneer of cryptocurrency. To be honest with you, I was a creative writing major in college. I wanted to be a journalist. I had no interest in the markets, economy, or technology. And so it's really interesting that I do work in the space now, but I am so passionate about it. I'm so interested by it. My first job out of college was working for a PR firm in the beginning of the ICO boom. When I joined in 2017, I saw Bitcoin go from 1,200 to 20,000 later that year. And just watching the space evolve in such a short amount of time never stops moving. It's ceaselessly evolving. And I think it's just such an exciting space. And we do need to work on making the world a more equal place and giving people access to Wi-Fi and internet connectivity. It does start with like building that infrastructure. But I do think that is the biggest barrier for entry. I'm not just because I work at CoinDesk, I also would advise reading CoinDesk or actually any news organization. The market is so manipulated so often by opinions and tweets and a lot of statements that aren't backed by data or research. However, I do think, coming into the space, there's so much information available now through academic journals. Even Goldman Sachs publishes quarterly reports. We have a quarterly report analyzing the market. And I just recommend reading as much as you can and absorbing as much information as you can from the right reputable sources.